What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the official Cliffy J, and I'm back with another video. And today I'm gonna rank every HOH of Big Brother 24. This isn't a heavily requested video. This is just something that obviously is going along with the series of ranking every HOH. And we got 23 more seasons after this to rank. So y'all already know the criteria for this list. We're looking at their agency they had over their own HOH. We're looking at the position they were in coming in and out of the HOH. We're looking at the nominations, and we're looking at if they got their target out, if it was a good decision to even do that. You know, that's mainly what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and get into the first one that we are ranking, which is number 14. And at number 14, I've got
by a vote of 2-0. Joseph, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Terrence's Week 7 Split House HOH. Coming into this HOH, Terrence was already pretty much dead in the water socially. This was like his one chance to reset his game, and he nominated Turner and Joseph. He won the veto, and then he decided to use it and put Kyle up there, which to me, that didn't really make much sense. If you're going to be taking a shot at Joseph, why put Kyle up there? I don't know. I guess he was just trying to do something. Like, my main issue is that Joseph was actually more loyal to Terrence than Kyle, Alyssa, and Turner ever were. If we're just thinking about the position they wanted to be in, Monty and Joseph actually wanted to work with Terrence. They just didn't think they could trust the guy, and obviously they want to still prioritize the leftovers. So instead of protecting someone that he could have reintegrated with, he took out someone that he could have worked with and essentially isolated himself more. You could argue that, okay, the after party was created. He had that, but that was never going to be something that actually had his back. They were just going to, have him survive while they took shots at the other players. It wasn't actually going to be something that was helping him in the game gain a truthfully better position, coached himself too, because Kyle was telling him to, and he was being Kyle's little linchpin. And at number 12, I've got Mike.
You, Terrence, and you, Alyssa, for eviction this week. There's no easy decisions left in this game. Terrence, I did hear that last week there were maybe some...
Michael's Week 9 HOH. Michael came into this HOH with the biggest target in the house, and instead of lowering it, he just raised it by winning more and more. He nominated Alyssa and Terrence, won the veto, kept the noms the same, and Terrence got sent home. That's what we wanted to go home. So clean, definitely. Optimal, absolutely not. At this point, Michael would have benefited going after Turner specifically or Monty, because these players were always, let's be real, he should have knew they were always going to go for him because he was such a big threat, so good in the challenges. On top of the fact that they have a way higher chance of beating him than Terrence did at that time, even at that time. It just made more sense that one of them would beat him, especially in something mental or even something physical. Like Monty could get up with him, beat him in physical things. So I don't know why. Obviously, he hadn't proved it then, but it's like that made sense. Big 6'8" fucking behemoth athlete guy or personal trainer guy is going to definitely have a higher chance of beating me than this 60-year-old DJ bus driver. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Obviously, he should have took that shot. He chose not to, and he essentially made the game impossible for himself because he definitely had to win out from that point, and it was more steep competition that he put himself against. And at number 11...
Congratulations, Taylor. You are the new...
I have Taylor's Week 6 HOH. Taylor entered this HOH in a solid position within the leftovers, but once she got power, it became a little bit of a struggle. She became extremely indecisive. She also considered, nominating her own allies. She flip-flopped on targets, overshared her thoughts, and struggled to commit heavily. Like, one thing that really frustrated with me is that she literally told everyone in the alliance that she didn't want to nominate Jasmine because she's black, even though Jasmine nominated her. And she was down to nominate Monty and Terrence, and they're black. So you just look, and I know, because she's a black woman, but that just doesn't make sense to someone that's, like, logical. And that just validates Kyle's racist gameplay. So, of course, now Kyle's for sure going to go through with what he was thinking of doing now. Like, that's a guarantee. And at number 10, I got...
Defied the odds by gobbling up power.
Jasmine, you are the new HOH!
I just won the freaking HOH!
Jasmine's HOH. I think it's pretty much arguable between the two. I just lean towards Jasmine's because on paper it was a pretty successful HOH, but Jasmine seemingly had little agency, like very little agency. She wanted to take Taylor out. Instead, Amira orchestrated the pooch blind side, but she was also down for that. And Old School's also formed under that HOH, but Jasmine wasn't really the driving force, but it was a good outcome. And she had some control, obviously, because she was a part of the alliance, and her and Amira were very close. And these were decisions that were made in benefit of both of them, not just her. And at number 9,
Competition. Monty, you got it right. And you win. Congratulations, Monty. You are the final head of household.
I feel like this is my opportunity to make that big move. Turner, I'm sorry, but I have to evict you, brother.
It's official, Turner. You are the last person to be evicted from the...
I got Monty's week 12 HOH. This one's tricky because Monty won the final HOH and he chose to take Taylor. On paper, Turner did have the better resume, but Taylor had the jury narrative and Monty completely misread that. Strategically understandable, but it was a game losing. His execution was fine, but the read was bad. And at number 8, I've got...
Congratulations, Taylor. You are the new head of household, and you have secured your spots on finale night.
Taylor's week 11 HOH. Taylor nominated Brittany and Turner. Monty won the veto, and he ultimately voted out Brittany, which, she was with it at that point because she knew, he had turned on her. I mean, she knew Brittany, he had turned on her. No, she knew Brittany had turned on her, well, by voting for her and stuff like that. So she was down. But this HOH wasn't great because headphone gate happened during this. And she obviously left the opportunity for Brittany to be staying in the game. And I do see why maybe keeping Brittany would have been smarter for her, though. So I kind of see why she was like, all right, we'll keep Brittany, because Brittany probably would have took her to the final 2, believing that she had no chance of winning and believing that Monty was the front runner because he should have been the front runner from a gameplay standpoint. But she had the jury narrative, obviously. And at number 7, I've got Daniel's week 1 HOH. Daniel's first HOH, his only HOH, his first HOH actually wasn't bad. He aligned closely with Nicole. He got cool with, Amira's, Terrence, Jasmine, Alyssa, Paloma. So he had decent relationships and he was aligned with players, even if they didn't have an official alliance. He nominated Michael and Terrence because it just made sense. Terrence didn't really have many people having his back, and Michael didn't really have people having his back. And these are 2 options that he didn't think were challenge threats. He didn't want to go with anybody who was a big challenge threat. Low wave option, given the fact that the backstage boss was safe, and then Paloma, Alyssa, and Brittany were all unable to be nominated. These were like pretty decent nominations, obviously. Michael won the veto. He nominated Taylor. Makes a lot of sense. She was being isolated early, so obviously that's what you're going to do. And I will say, if Paloma didn't self-evict, this HOH would have been really good. It would have been even better in hindsight, really. And at number 6,
Power.
Monty, that means you're the next head of household.
I got Monty's week 4 HOH. Monty plays this exactly how an alliance would want you to. He nominated Alyssa and Indy, navigates Kyle's pushback and ultimately sends Nicole home because it just makes the most sense, going after opposition of the alliance while also keeping people, cool and kind of going with the wishes of people like Kyle and stuff like that. No flashy moves, but solid and trust building. And at number 5,
I made HOH. I knew I had it in me.
I've got Turner's week 3 HOH. Turner starts this week misted and on the outside, but by the end of it, the leftovers were created. The pound was formed partly by him. Amira was evicted, and yes, he needed some help from Joseph and Kyle, but his HOH turning point was still, what kept the season interesting and what kind of gave us a solid season. It gave us the leftovers creation. If it wasn't for him creating the pound, leftovers probably wasn't going to be created. So credit has to be given to him. He got his target out and everything. His was a little bit, misled the beginning of the episode. Beginning of the week, which makes sense. Everybody was against Taylor. And at number 4, I have Michael's Week 5 HOH. Michael played his own HOH. He tried to backdoor Daniel, wasn't able to do that because they competed in the veto, and he was able to ultimately get them onto the block. I'm pretty sure he also won veto that week because he was just winning everything, and he listened to others, but he ultimately did exactly what he wanted, and it also made the most sense. The thing is about this HOH, Turner's HOH, Monty's HOH, these were all like leftovers. These are like the leftovers HOHs, so it's kind of like it's hard not to have them rather high on the list. And at number
Which means
3,
congratulations, Turner. You are the new head of household. You have just a few. Congratulations, Monty. You have won. Michael, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Everyone, please stay seated. I have one thing I would like to say.
Turner's Week 9 double eviction HOH. I don't want to give this one as much credit as I am, but I mean, you just kind of got to. Under pressure, Turner makes the only move that makes sense. Monty was able to win the veto, pushes him to nominate Michael, and Michael is evicted fast, decisive, and optimal.
Position to stay next
And
week.
at number
Alyssa,
2,
I'm sorry, but I vote to evict you.
It's official.
I have Monty's Week 10 HOH. Monty navigates a very tricky week. He nominates Brittany and Alyssa, adapts after the veto with Brittany winning it, maintains his strong relationships with both Turner and Taylor, and keeps his end game intact. The only part where I could dock him a little bit, which this probably should actually be the best HOH of the season, but I'll dock him a little bit because I feel like he avoided, the veto. He avoided, and I mean, I'm not saying that just let's be real. He could have got down there. He avoided the veto, and yeah, that would have been a little extra blood on your hands from winning the veto. It would have been less blood on your hands because you wouldn't have had to break the tie. You would been able to leave it as Brittany and Alyssa, and then you guys would just be able to send Alyssa home, and that would have went through that way, and you wouldn't have had to break a tie. And at number 1, I've got Michael's Week 7 Split House HOH. This was very debatable between Monty's and this one. This was the best HOH this season for me. He had full control, won the HOH, let Brittany win the veto, kept the noms the same, sent Jasmine home, and retained the trust that he had. No mess, no chaos, no exposure. Textbook power usage. Exactly what you need to do, and I'll give him that. And that is the end of today's video. BB24 was one of the most HOH driven seasons. Like, these were all pretty solid HOH. Power mattered, timing mattered, and execution mattered even more. Which HOH do you guys think was too high? Which one was too low? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.